Hey dear, Zimzy here, and we are currently living in a horror book renaissance. I feel like people are currently tapping into anxiety and writing those stories, and readers are gravitating towards those stories because it feels cathartic. So I want to go over some recent horror releases that I've read recently, as well as arcs that I've read for horror books that are yet to come but will next month. So let's dive into it. Let's start with The Fervor by Alma Katsu, and this one is a historical horror with elements of supernatural horror woven in there, and it follows two different timelines. So there's the past, where there's a scientist who moves to an island to study this mysterious jet stream. However, the locals tell him to leave because the island is cursed. And then it gets into the 1940s, where there's Meiko and her daughter Aiko, who live in a Japanese internment camp. However, there's this mysterious rage-inducing illness that's spreading throughout the camp, and they have to get to the bottom of what's causing that illness before it's too late. Yeah, this is an atmospheric read, and Katsu does an incredible job at building up suspenseful and creepy scenes. What I didn't like about this story, I would say there are too many points of view. So there's also a reverend and a journalist. For me, I would have liked to have kept it like a generational gothic story, because there's the scientist who's the grandfather, there's Meiko the mother, and then we also get Aiko's point of view, and she is the granddaughter. I wish it had kept to them instead of adding all these bloated points of view that were kind of repetitive for me. But like, if I focus on what I liked, I really loved that it focused on a horrifying part of time. Like, this was based off of Katsu's father-in-law's experience in an internment camp, not the supernatural yokai part. But the yokai was also cool. It's the entangling bride, the spider yokai, which I don't see often in books. Usually it's like oni or kitsune, so it's cool to get more Japanese yokai in horror, and I'd love to see more yokai in the future. Okay, next I have a historical gothic horror called The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas, and this one is set in the aftermath of the Mexican War for Independence from the Spanish monarchy, and the story follows Beatriz, who is the daughter of a general. However, he's executed. She's left destitute and without a home, so she decides to marry this handsome widower, even though there's rumors that his previous wife mysteriously died. She doesn't care. She just wants her own home and money. So she marries him. However, once she arrives to his estate, it's like all dilapidated. His sister also lives with him, and it's kind of awkward. However, she starts hearing voices, and she starts seeing blood in the manor, the estate, the hacienda. It's called an hacienda. And she's like, okay, I'm seeing things. No one believes her. So finally, she decides to team up with the priest to try to confront the malevolent force that is in the hacienda. So this book ticks off so many classic gothic horror tropes for me in the best possible way, because I love gothic literature, if you can't tell. However, I think what really compelled me and made me so engrossed in the story is the two main characters. So Beatriz, she's headstrong, she is a general's daughter, and then there's Padre Andres, who is a priest with his own demons. He's very sensitive to the supernatural, and that's why he believes her. He can sense and see and hear demons. And I know I said in my most anticipated books video that I hoped there was a forbidden romance between her and the priest, and oh, we get smoldering, slow burn, forced proximity, and I really love their relationship because they're both outsiders in a way. He is a newer priest, and he's kind of bottom of the rung, and she's new to the rural area, so they kind of form this, like, kinship, and I just loved the relationship so much. This book is so satisfying, and yeah, probably horror book of the year for me. And did I mention he's hot? Because he's hot. So forgive me, Padre, for I have sinned. Okay, moving on. Next book. Okay, next we have a literary vampire novel called Woman Eating by Kohda, and this story follows a mixed-race half-vampire who decides to gain independence from her mother, move out on her own, and start an art internship. However, she's led a sheltered life up until now, and she's not able to get the pig blood that she usually drinks to sustain herself, so she's hungry. She doesn't want to eat human food, and meanwhile she's trying to resist the humans around her, and she's watching mukbang videos like on YouTube, and she's fantasizing about eating human food even though her body can't get nutrients from it, and she wants to connect with her Japanese father's cultural roots. Yeah, essentially this is a novel about a young woman adrift in life who's trying to figure out her identity while connecting to her cultural heritage through food, all wrapped up in like a vampire metaphor. I really loved Lydia's internal monologue. She's very raw and earnest, and it's a very poignant food for thought sort of book. Haha, I didn't even intend to do that. Food for thought. Pun intended, yeah. But the one thing I hated was the dialogue. The dialogue is like so different from like Lydia's narration. Her narration is very sophisticated and flowery, and then when you get to her actual dialogue, there's so many filler words like yeah, like more than I would like hear from a regular person, let alone see in a dialogue for a novel. And I think it's supposed to be like her awkward human self versus her inner demon, her inner vampire who's very articulate. But for me, like, it was too much of an extreme. Like, there is like no substance to the dialogue that the characters are saying. The meat of the story, I'm on a metaphor roll. The meat of the story is in her self-reflection, and that's what I liked. Okay, next we have the latest splatterpunk novella by Larocca, and this one is called You've Lost a Lot of Blood, and this is like a multi-layered frame narrative going on. So we have Martyr Black, who is a serial killer and writer who mysteriously disappeared with his partner Ambrose. And then we have the fictional editor who's compiled Martyr's previously published works, so like his poems, his novella, so there's like an entire novella in this novella, and then there's like Martyr's diary entries and phone transcripts. However, I think the aspect of the book that didn't grip me as much and I didn't like as much was the inner novella portion. So the inner novella is a techno horror about, let's just say, it's like a spoof on video games are dangerous, the horrors of video games. And I think maybe it didn't like grab me as much because it's written in the third person, and the voice didn't feel as strong as Martyr's diary entries. I wanted to read his inner thoughts. I wanted to see more of his messed up relationship explored between him and Ambrose. I think because I personally love like Hannibal and Will's relationship. So for me personally, I leaned more towards the relationship aspects of the novella, and I almost wish that it had been written as a novel so that the novella portion didn't overwhelm the rest. Next, let's go medieval with Howls from the Dark Ages, which is an entire horror anthology, and this one contains some really interesting, like, religious psychological horror that I really loved. And I think 3 stories in particular really stood out to me. So the first one was Deus Vult, which is about a weary knight who's come back from the Crusades, and he stumbles upon this mysterious bishop's castle, and he starts seeing things, and there's tons of body horror, psychological horror, and it explores like the effects of trauma. So if you like kind of Silent Hill vibes, only make it medieval, I think you'd really like this story too. Next, I really loved A Dowry for Your Hand by Michelle Tang, and this one follows an expectant groom who receives a gift of braided hair that's like a bracelet from his future bride. However, things start happening to him that are kind of sinister, and it contains one of my favorite gross horror tropes. I won't say what, but you'll see. And the writing is just beautiful and luscious. And oh, I forgot to mention, it's also set in medieval China, so it's a nice, refreshing departure from all the European stories that we get. Last but not least, I really loved The Mouth of Hell by Cody Goodfellow, and this one follows a pious squire who goes to this village that's rumored to guard the gates of hell to save his master. However, what he sees there makes him question his faith, and this one was so good. It has like almost creepy, folksy Resident Evil village vibes, and I was all for it, and it's like very philosophical and mind-trippy, and I loved it. And I also forgot to mention that it's forwarded by the author of Between Two Fires, which I am waiting still at the library to pick up my copy. It was like a 20-something week wait, and I just really want to read more medieval horror because there's like demons and hellfire and the plague and people dying of being leeched or all these weird things. So it's a really interesting period of time that I'd love to see more horror-inspired pieces from. Alright, those are all the horror novels and novellas that I've read recently. If you read anything good recently as well, let me know down in the comments below. And if you've made it this far in this video, how about give me a sword or a knife emoji? And for future plans, I really want to review The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, which is down, I think in like July or June, I'll look it up. And I'm also super excited for What Moves the Dead, which is a Poe retelling. So if you are also looking forward to future horror novels, let me know about them as well. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.